Just ahead on this week's Progressive Bass Wrap-Up Show, we bring you highlights from the Bassmaster Southern Open on Douglas Lake in Tennessee, as well as the Oakley Big Bass Tournament up on Smith Mountain Lake in Virginia. Then we head south with coverage of the Kicks 99 Hooked on Country Bass Tournament at Clarks Hill Lake in Georgia, plus coverage of the ASANTEE Open. And I'm joined by pro staffer Vance McCullough as we bring you this edition from Palatka, Florida on the St. Johns River. That and much more coming your way right now.
The Progressive Bass Wrap-Up Show.
Hey everyone, John Byrne and Vance McCullough here in Palatka, Florida on the St. Johns River for this edition of the Progressive Bass Wrap-Up Show. You know, we brought Vance on board today because he's a Florida expert, and the St. Johns River is a fishery a lot of people have heard a lot about, but maybe haven't had a chance to fish a whole lot. So Vance, with that in mind, tell our viewers what you need to do and what you need to bring when you're fishing the St. Johns River.
Well, the St. Johns River is a sprawling, diverse fishery. You got Robin Reservoir, which is just a wonderful fishery, still kicking out tons of big bass, like always. You got Lakes George and Lakes Crescent to the south have all produced winning tournament sacks before. But when you're in the river proper, St. Johns River, it's all about the tide. Now, when that tide's up and it floods miles and miles of eelgrass, you want to get after them with something like a buzzbait. This model here is made by our buddies over at Buckeye Lures. So you want to get after them on those miles and miles of eelgrass flats till you find some good fish. Buzzbait's a great way to locate fish. Now, when the tide gets down and the fish concentrate on some of these offshore bars and humps, that's when you want to pull out a crankbait like the Strike King Series 5. Sexy Shad is a great color when the fish pile up on these offshore sandbars. And you can really load the boat with some big bass. When you see these guys come in with cookie cutter limits of 5-pounders, that's how they're getting them on this river.
Wow, that's sharp. You got me. Hey, great stuff, Vance. And you know, again, a lot of people haven't had the chance to fish this great fishery, and it is one of a kind. Hey, with that being said, let's head up north to Virginia to Smith Mountain Lake for this week's Oakley Big Bass Tournament Challenge, where somebody's going to win a $30,000 boat motor trailer package. Bridgewater Plaza Marina hosted the third annual Oakley Big Bass Classic this month on Smith Mountain Lake. A record number of anglers from 15 states arrived Saturday to face cold and windy conditions. Sunday proved a little nicer day, but regardless, each day plenty of fish in the 4 to 6 pound range were brought in.
What'd you bring us?
Little one.
Hey, 373, I think you got that. Yes, we do. 408, that's gonna move you into second place. If that holds up, that's $500.
We come out pre-fishing and we got on some really good fish. We had nice sunny days and fish were moving up really good. And we caught some really good fish. And then this front come through and all of our fish backed off, so it's been really tough for us. Had a lot of wind and stuff, and we've just been downsizing, fishing light line, and just trying to catch what we can catch right now.
All right, here we the final angler here for the fourth hour. Come on back, Ralph, welcome. There we go. Feels like we got a decent fish here. We need 384 out of it to get you in the top 5. Check it out. 443. You are going to win this hour, buddy.
No way!
That's $1,000.
Oh my God!
Grab that fish and hold it high. That is the way to play the Oakley Big Bass game here.
Oh my gosh, I had a 5-pounder last time and I thought I was going to win and got third.
There you go. You're looking at a $1,000 payday for a fish.
That's for you, Amy. She talked junk. My fiance talked junk to me.
After winning the latest hour, Ralph and his father took our cameras out to experience Smith Mountain Lake firsthand.
This is how I've caught all my fish today, all on the buzzbait. I had one bigger this morning. It was probably 6.5, and it just missed the bait. I got Daddy back there in the back. He's throwing a spinner bait. Like I said, if you can get it in a shady spot and one spawning, that's where he's at. It's kind of funny, my fiance, she said, whatever you're doing, change what you're doing. And so I said, well, darn, they should be hitting a buzzbait if they're getting aggressive and spawning. So that's exactly what I done this morning, and I have yet to put it down. Got him, Daddy. Oh, he come off. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, that was a 4-pound fish. Darn it.
And with Ralph and his dad, there is never a dull moment.
Let Let me get the net.
I got it, Wrapup.
Oh, you got gosh, he's fishing for wood back here.
Somebody's got to have a stuff to
Oh
start
my
the fire
God.
with.
Let's check back in at the ramp with Scott Gordon.
Hey everybody, Scott Gordon with your recap here from the Blue Ridge Big Bass Classic on Smith Mountain Lake. We're on day 2. We've got 45 minutes to go. Mike Ratcliffe and his 632 is currently leading. Anything can happen on the Oakley Big Bass Tour. We've had anglers bring bass in the last 5 minutes and win the event, so we'll see what happens.
All you need is 380, but you're going to do better than that. Check it out. Lock it down, 543. You are leading this out. Grab that fish, hold it high. Grab that slimy thing.
You got him?
Here he comes. That's what we're talking about. 2013 Blue Ridge Big Bass Classic champion, weighing 632. Mike Ratcliffe, come get your boat, baby.
Now, Vance, they were throwing a lot of topwater up in Virginia. What kind of topwater do you throw down here in Florida on the St. Johns River?
Oh, anywhere down here in Florida, it's all about the old school prop baits, like the Devil's Horse or the Boy Howdy. Well, your friend of mine, Bernie Schultz, got with Mark Fisher over at Wrapup, and they spent over a year developing the X-Wrap prop, which Jacob Wheeler used to win the Forest Wood Cup up there in Atlanta last year on Lanier. We saw him there, we were there for that.
Yeah.
Here's the X-Wrap prop, folks, and it's like a lot of these prop baits, but the neat thing about this is he's incorporated an old secret tweak we used to all put into our lures. Bernie's got them coming off the shelf this way. That hardware is loose on purpose. It makes a clacking, this clicking sound when it comes through the water that drives bass nuts. That is the difference. It is the key. The durable, beautiful finish. X-Wrap prop from Wrapup, a new school twist on an old school favorite down here.
That's great stuff. And hey, Vance, coming up, we're going to head to Clarks Hill Lake for the Kicks 99 Hooked on Country Bass Tournament, plus the Sportsman's Warehouse and Strike King Pro Tip of the Week, all coming up. Stay with us.
The Progressive Bass Wrap-Up Show, presented by Progressive Insurance, sponsored by Ranger Boats, still building legends one at a time, and by Evan Root, because your boat belongs on the water.
We head north to Clarks Hill Lake in Georgia for the second annual Kicks 99 Hooked on Country Bass Tournament, presented by Columbia County and Wildwood Park. 256 teams with anglers from all over the country came to experience Clarks Hill Lake with the hopes of collecting the top guaranteed prize of $15,000 cash. Kicks 99 was on hand, as well as many families, friends, and fans who came out to show their support and see who would take home the guaranteed first place prize. The weigh-in weights were impressive this year, adding proof that fishing conditions are getting better and better here on Clarks Hill. Winning weights of 12 to 15 pounds were common the past few years, but look at this year's weigh-in and you'll see proof is in the performance.
9.74, big fish 4.72, 13.78, 5 alive, 13.62.
GENTRY and BART Blackburn weighed in 24.76 pounds and took home the $15,000 first place prize.
Well, we were just blessed. We didn't really catch a whole pile of fish, but the wind changed directions today, and then it slicked off, and then we were able to catch them on a Buckeye mop jig.
The competition is great. You get to know a lot of these guys, and that's a big part of it. I was fortunate enough last year. I won this tournament as well, so to do it back to back, it's awesome.
Here's how the top 5 looked. Vance, Bart and Glenn won up on Clarks Hill throwing a Buckeye mop jig. Tell us about that bait.
The Buckeye mop jig is like the bait on Clarks Hill. Hey, it's not bad on the St. Johns River either if you don't want to throw a Carolina rig when they get on these bars and humps schooling. It's just a wonderful lure for schooling fish, which is what you get a lot of on Clarks Hill. What it's known for, it draws the bigger bass, the bigger bites, with those big rubber legs on it right there that are mixed in with the regular silicone strands. And it's just a known producer, got a little rattle in it going on, and that's a good stout hook. And our friends over there at Buckeye Lures, they don't turn out any junk.
No, you know how good it is? It won them $15,000. Up next, the Sportsman's Warehouse Strike King Pro Tip of the Week, and we'll check in on the Bassmaster Southern Open from Douglas Lake in Tennessee. But first, your Ranger Boats Question of the Week. In celebration of Ranger's 45 years providing excellent watercraft to anglers all over the country, we take a moment to test your knowledge and have a little fun. Our question this week, what year did Ranger Boats invent and patent the first aerated live well?
This portion of the Progressive Bass Wrap-Up Show is brought to you by Strike King Lures, by Sportsman's Warehouse, and by Snack Proof.
Get all the answers to our Ranger Boats Question of the Week by logging on to mydreamrig.com. Okay, for our Sportsman's Warehouse Strike King Pro Tip of the Week, Vance, you were up on Kentucky Lake with Bassmaster Elite Series Pro James Niggermeyer, and you were fishing some grass flats up there. Tell us about it.
Yeah, James was doing some deep pitching in some relatively deep water, 6-8 feet deep, on the edge of some scattered hydrilla. It was very interesting. He was using that new Strike King Raised Menace and tungsten Strike King weight in places where, you know, I would use it in 2, 3, maybe 4 foot of water to call that deep. James is out there in 6 to 8, and he has some really cool tips. You know, watch this. He'll tell us about it.
Hi, I'm James Niggermeyer. I fish the Bassmaster Elite Series Tournament Trail. I'm a guide on Lake Fork, and I'm here on beautiful Kentucky Lake. And I just want to talk to you about some of the baits that Strike King's coming out with. I love to flip and pitch, and this new tour grade tungsten slither rig is just going to be one of my baits that I go to from here on out. Basically, what you have is a tungsten weight with a skirt that fixes over the bottom of it. So what you have is you have something that's like a Texas rig. So the weedlessness of a Texas rig, but you have the bulk of a jig. This is going to be great for flipping heavy grass, any kind of heavy wood, any kind of heavy cover at all. This is going to come through really streamlined. As you can see, that presentation is just going to really come through. And with this Rage Menace grub, those little tails just kicking in the back, looks like a little bluegill, looks like a little crawfish, whatever it is it's coming through the cover. It's going to definitely going to resemble some of the things that they eat every day. On Kentucky Lake this year, they've got a lot of hydrilla, just scattered clumps of hydrilla across this flat here, which I think is just ideal for this new slither rig. So I'm able to just come out here and pitch right into the heaviest portion of these little mat clumps of hydrilla and just let it free fall straight into there. For those fish on a bright bluebird sky day like this, where it's got a high pressure system, those fish are going to be tucked up in that with and I'm able to flip this bait right in there, present that Rage Menace grub, and give it a little bit more bulk than I would otherwise just with a standard tungsten weight. I absolutely love to flip and pitch. So when I saw this bait come out at ICAST, or this weight and skirt presentation, I was just thinking of all the different ways that I could partner it with different plastics.
Thanks, James. Now we're going to head down to Santee for the Santee Open Team Tournament, which took place just a few weeks back. And you know, Vance, Santee is back. It's got a lot of grass now, like some of these Florida lakes. Tell us what you know about Santee.
Oh, it's back in a big way. You know, I'm a big grass guy being from down here. You put me on these grass flats and I'll fish all day and you won't hear a word out of me. I love it. And apparently the boys up there on Santee Cooper Lakes, they're enjoying the same kind of resurgence in aquatic vegetation. It's good nursery habitat. It's good for the whole lake. And our buddies up there just won a tournament with a couple of big bedding fish, and then they split their time on the upper lake and the lower lake, and they're both producing tons of fish, and it worked out well for them.
It's time to get back to Santee.
Yeah.
Well, Santee Open Team Tournament Director Nelson Walker had predicted it would take at least 30 pounds to win the $5,000 guaranteed first place prize. And a pair from Moncks Corner, South Carolina pulled it off with a whopping 5 fish limit, weighing in at 34.8 pounds. You know those two brought in not one, but 2 8-pound fish, the largest at 8.78 pounds. And that was second largest of the tournament. Big bags are back at Santee. Lonnie Marchant and Jeff Hutto won the Big Fish Award with an 8.99 pound monster. The tournament paid through 20 places, and no team in the top 20 caught less than 20 pounds. After the break, the Bassmaster Southern Open from Douglas Lake in Tennessee, right after this.
This portion of the program is sponsored by Buckeye Lures and by Anglers Channel. If it has to do with fishing, you'll find it at anglerschannel.com.
Now let's give a rousing East Tennessee welcome to the anglers and to the staff of this year's Bass Pro Shops Bassmaster Southern Open. Let me hear it. Let's hear it. Praise the Lord.
Great week for you, sitting in second place right now.
You know, it feels awesome. It's been a great week. This is my first ever Bass Open, and it's been awesome. East Tennessee's great. It's beautiful out here. I won't say that about Thursday. I was miserable, cold, everything was freezing, but it ended up being good. I'm glad to be here. I want to share one quick story. My partner, Christiana, she did, it was an awesome day. We struggled a little bit at the beginning, and we pulled up at an area, and she caught a big one first cast, and then I caught that one. We proceeded to catch some fish, and I wasn't catching them, and she was catching them. She caught her limit pretty good. So at the end of the day, with about 40 minutes left, she said, you know what, I've done what I need to do. She had a bad practice, she says, and so she stopped fishing, and I hate to say it, I was getting whooped by a girl, but it was happening. So she stops fishing, and she lets me pick up her rod, which whatever. But I picked up her rod, and she quit fishing for the last 30 minutes, let me try to get my limit so I could take the lead. So I want to say thank you to her. That was an awesome move on her part.
We already heard she's got a limit of bass. She needs to have 13 pounds, 8 ounces to take the pro lead. Be looking at a brand new Triton boat powered by a Mercury outboard. Not only that, possibly a 2014 Bassmaster Classic berth. Looking for 13.8. Bam! 21 pounds, 5 ounces, 51 pounds even. Tell us a bit about what you've been doing out there. You had a great start on day number 1. Yesterday a little bit softer, but man, you rebounded today with 21.5.
Yeah, my hands are destroyed from throwing an Alabama rig for a week. I got 3 bites in practice, but I knew that was probably the right thing to do. So on the first, beginning of day 1, I started just throwing it, and I tried a couple different baits and finally figured out something that would work and started whacking them. On day 2, it didn't work out so well, but today was a different day.
Okay, 19 pounds, 10 ounces is what we're looking for, Glenn.
Not going to quite get there today.
10 pounds, 11 ounces is going to move you all the way up into 4th place, though, with a total weight of 42 pounds, 2 ounces. Woo, those are a couple nice ones. He's looking for 19 pounds, 9 ounces to take over the lead. He's got a solid day going on here. All right, looks like it went pretty well for you.
Well, yeah, it looks like it, but I worked my butt off today for those.
Let's see what we can do. Looking for 19 pounds, 9 ounces, 20 pounds, 10 ounces, going to put you in the lead. Oh, Christiana made a valiant run at it. That's what we're talking about. All right, he's looking for 14 pounds, 14 ounces. Watch the scales. 20 pounds, 10 ounces. David Kilgore takes over the lead. Couple gentlemen from Jasper, Alabama. Smith Lake Country leading this thing. He's been putting 20 pounds a day on the scales. He's got a big bag again today. 19 pounds, 11 ounces. We have a new leader. Looking for 18 pounds, 5 ounces. Get him to settle down there. 22 pounds, 2 ounces. Patrick Bone has just won the Bass Pro Shop Bassmaster Southern Open. Patrick Bone, 65 pounds and 4 ounces. Whew. What a week for you, pal.
Oh, God. I'm speechless.
How do you feel about fishing down in Guntersville in February?
You know, if we could throw an Alabama rig there, it'd be pretty fun.
I don't think they're going to let you do that. You're going to have to make some calls on that, and I doubt it's going to happen.
You know, Guntersville's an absolute fishery. Alabama rig or not, they're going to smash them.
You're going to smash them, man. You're going to be there. He just qualified for the 2014 Bassmaster Classic on Lake Guntersville.
I've dreamed about making the Classic my whole life.
It's good. It's just happened, man. All I got to have you do is show up and fish your first 2 days at minimum of Logan Martin. You think you can do that for me?
Yeah, you can probably saw a leg off and I'll be there. You know, I tell you, golly, there's a lot of sponsors I can thank, and I'll probably forget everybody, but, you know, first and foremost, I couldn't do it.
Yeah, that is key too, right there. I mean, you will find the best of these best anglers. They have a great support system behind them at home because you can't do it without them.
No, you can't. You know, I'm on the road a bunch, and I'm just trying to get started. You know, I'm not a veteran at this, and, you know, I'm trying to get there. I want to do it full time, you know, and Lord willing, it'll happen. But, you know, I drive home tonight, you know, and I still work for a living. I got to work on Monday, and then I leave Tuesday to drive to Arkansas to fish a tournament. So, you know, my wife, she stands behind me good.
Here's how the top 5 looked. Well, that wraps up another week of the Progressive Bass Wrap-Up Show. Vance, we want to thank you for joining us here in Palatka, Florida. And speaking of Palatka, next week is the Wolfson Children's Hospital Tournament right here on the St. Johns River.
Yeah, y'all come join us for a great cause and a lot of big fish.